We're about to start our next podcast, and we're inviting you to join the Orgtologist certification program. The next one starts on the 1st of July 2021, and we invite you to become a certified Orgtologist with the International Orgtology Institute. For more information, inbox me or send me an email on mishishburner@gmail.com or visit www.orgtology.org and become part of the Orgtology family today. You can share this video either on our Facebook page, or you can go to the YouTube channel and look for more information there. Alternatively, you can contact me on 071 222 0977. That is a South African dialing code. Right now, though, we have Otto Tawanda online. He is going to be joining our podcast today, and we're going to be chatting to Otto because he's taking part of the program, and he recently wrote his paper about the fourth industrial revolution and the influences of Orgtology. Hello, Otto, welcome.
Good day, Michelle. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. And thank you for coming into this podcast with us. We're really excited about speaking to you today. So without further ado, because I know that time is limited, let me actually ask you this question. Otto, why did you get involved with Orgtology?
Well, what I can say is I've been in strategy, teaching strategy, developing strategy for companies. And then I came across a certain lady who works at Central Bank of Swaziland here in Eswatini. And she told me that there is a guy who did a strategy for them. It's something new. It's something that has never been done. I know in strategy, you need to know about this. So I had to look for Derek. Good enough, I connected with Derek. That's how I got into taking into Orgtology, because it was somebody who already knew that I was in strategy development, who recognized the impact of what Derek had done with them. And he felt that I really needed to know about this.
Okay, wonderful. So let's step back for a minute and let's ask you where you, Otto Tawanda, come from in terms of your business and your career, your business experience and career. What have you been doing up until this point that set you up and teed you up to become an Orgtology student?
Firstly, I'm in corporate training. I run a consultants company that deals with corporate training, strategy development, policy research, and things like that. And then we also in the educational sector, we run a school. And then I'm also in the manufacturing sector. I'm in the food industry as well. And I'm also a John Maxwell trained coach and speaker. So I'm a guy who does quite a lot of things, who is always checking out what's on the horizon, what's the new things that is coming in. Very soon I'll be saying I'm an Orgtologist.
All right, so Otto, let's discuss your paper and your views on Orgtology and the fourth industrial revolution. I noticed that you've obviously done quite a bit on the fourth industrial revolution, and as you've described yourself, you kind of like to hang out on the edge of cutting edge. You've now found a connection between Orgtology and the fourth industrial revolution. Would you like to tell us some more about that?
You see, when you're talking about the fourth industrial revolution, we're talking about the connectedness that is coming in because of technology, the way things are going to change, that artificial learning, machine learning, all these things are what brings together the issue of fourth industrial revolution. Now, where does Orgtology come in, and how is Orgtology connected to all this? If you notice in Orgtology, there are basically two major things there. Is the issue of dualism, is the issue of process constructs, and the issue of strategy. Those are two major things that you pick from Orgtology. Now, if you go to fourth industrial revolution, we are saying if we understand our processes in manufacturing, in food industry, in any other business environment, our processes, and then once we understand these are processes, we can automate them, right?
Okay.
But now the challenge that has been there is that most strategy development doesn't have the process construct that you find in Orgtology. we've got this issue of processes and management, right? That is on one area. Then we've got this thing of leadership, of strategy, that is on another area. Now, the question is, the more time we spend in management, the less time we spend in strategy.
Yes.
Right? So how do we complement these two so that they can work together? So what we are looking at is that in the fourth industrial revolution, you will discover that we need more into managing our processes so that more time is left into strategy development. And all these things that we're doing, if we can manage to put them together in terms of understanding how things work, because this is the major issue. We're saying all the skills that we're having, that we're managing, can we now turn them over intelligence doing these things on our behalf? And then at the same time, we're talking about the development that is coming, the strategies that are coming because of fourth industrial revolution. We're saying we want to move into a new concept, new era.
Let me recap
Yes.
what you're saying, Otto. So what I'm hearing you saying is that we've got Orgtology now, which is actually talking about the fact that the silos exist, and now actually maximizing the processes to allow management to start dealing with 4IR issues.
That's very certain. That's definitely what I'm trying to put across to you there. Okay. So that's where basically Orgtology is coming in. Let me just expand that a little bit. If you notice in the 70s, when we have the second industrial revolution coming in, we had new leadership and management models like GIT coming in, just in time, just in case. We had ERP coming in, taking advantage of the technology of the day. But now with the connectedness that is coming in, you discover that those leadership and management models do not work well with the new technology. So we have to develop a new leadership and management model, which we found in Orgtology.
Can you go back to what those revolutions were for our younger audience who might not actually have gone through that?
Okay, we can start with the first industrial revolution. We know we talk about the steam boats, the steam engines. Now, the first industrial revolution is the one that gave birth now to order and organization, factories coming in. Because before then, we had just craftsmen working.
Yes.
Now, that's what brought about organized labor.
Okay.
Then we go into the second industrial revolution. We talk about the Charles Taylor coming in, the assembly lines coming in. So you discover when the assembly lines came in the second industrial revolution, which was electricity, when the second industrial revolution came in, what happened now was like we now had to come with management models. That's when we have to come with organizing, leading, delegating. All those things are coming in order to deal with the new technology of the day, which was in the second industrial revolution. So in the third industrial revolution now, when we're at the computer age, we discovered now that the managers had to adopt to the third industrial revolution by making use of the technology of the day that was there, which was the computer age. Now the computer age is the one that gave birth to ERP, JIT, and all other leadership models that we are seeing today. But now you discover that whenever an industrial revolution takes place, leadership and management models also change. Unfortunately, if you notice, Michelle, today, we are trying to carry the old leadership and management models into fourth industrial revolution.
I get that, Otto, but we need to just because you said and I'm testing your theory because you said that currently management don't have the technology to deal with the new stuff coming in.
What I'm saying is currently the management and leadership models that are there, they don't have the capacity to deal with the new technology that is coming. Because whenever new technology comes in, if you notice all through the industrial revolutions, whenever new technology comes in, leadership and management models have to change to adapt to the new technology.
It was my understanding from your
Yes.
earlier premise that Orgtology and the fourth industrial revolution marry quite nicely, because what it does is it takes and it separates the process away from leadership, and leadership can then actually now focus on sustainability and future innovation. Why your models need to change to adopt technology when the focus for leadership is not actually technology? Or is it? Am I incorrect?
Well, we cannot say the focus of leadership is not technology, because you see, when you're talking about leadership, we're talking about taking people, taking the organization into an unknown realm. And normally when you talk about technology, we're talking about an advancement. So leadership actually is the one that actually is supposed to be leading in terms of technology, because they're the ones that are taking us into a known realm.
Is that not by its nature a process, which then actually puts management back on the process side again?
Okay, the process, if the process is coming in, it's coming in just for the sake of creating a process construct, and then immediately once a process has been established, then leadership goes back into innovation. In the process now, through fourth industrial revolution, everything now runs automatically.
Okay.
Like, for example, I'm trying to do something new in my business. Yes, I'll go through the process construct, but the moment this has been done, then everything that we're doing, we hand it over to 4IR, which means we're handing over to machines, we're handing over to automated system to now do this. So my innovation now as a leader is to come up with these processes, make sure that they're working, and we hand over to fourth industrial revolution to run the organization on our behalf, while now we continue innovating.
What you are saying is, as an entrepreneur, you are now ensuring that the processes in your business are running by themselves effectively and efficiently, which is then freeing you up to actually go and find new business.
Definitely, that's basically what it is.
Earlier, you spoke about Orgtology being a precursor to the fourth industrial revolution. Okay, so, yes. So obviously your focus with regards to the Orgtology's perspective has been pretty much on processes in terms of your paper. Am I right?
Yeah, that's very correct.
Okay, why did you choose that point of view in your paper, Otto?
Okay, one of the major reasons that I chose that area of processes was, if you check, actually, when fourth industrial revolution is coming in, we are still supposed to be abstract thinkers, right? We are still supposed to be leading. But then the actual, where the rubber meets the road, is the part that most organizations suffer with in terms of coming up with strategies, coming up with innovations and everything like that. They do that. But in terms of now putting these things into action, that's where the problem is with most companies, with most organizations. Now, when I focused on that, my whole idea was to say, if we can use Orgtology to make sure that these processes are done well, and Orgtology comes in and makes all these things perfect, and people understand how Orgtology works actually to enhance this process, constructive process, then it means this, what we are leaving the leadership or the management doing the abstract thinking. That's okay. That's one thing that we have been doing all along, but it's the processes that has been bogging down the organizations. And also because fourth industrial revolution is bringing the technology that is necessary, that we should jump into.
But why would getting processes right be a problem?
Well, I think the major reason why getting processes right is a problem is because nobody really studies the processes. That's the first thing. We don't study them. Two, whenever we are dealing with the processes, because it's human behavior, it's human skills, or most of the time, humans tend to deviate. You cannot really say, today this is what Michelle would do, and tomorrow she'll do the same thing, and the following day she'll do the same thing. So because human beings deviate, then it means processes were always not the same. What can be done by you may not be reflected by you again tomorrow. So when we come to fourth industrial revolution, now we're saying, if we're using machinery to do all these things, automation, then it means our processes can run seamlessly because our machines do not deviate like human beings. So this is the challenge that has been facing organizations all along.
Otto, by that statement, in fact, you're actually saying that business education has actually had a flaw in it.
Not really a flaw, but there was a gap.
Okay. Okay. So basically, your premise comes from the fact that if your process construct is sound and everybody knows exactly what is going on with all the processes, then everything should run fluidly and efficiently.
Definitely. Actually, if your process construct is sound, the organization should run itself.
For an SME like yourself, what impact does that have on a small business?
Okay, as an SME, the Orgtology has been it has really changed the way I do my business. Okay. Because right now, in everything that I do, I try to make sure that there's a process.
Yes.
And people understand this process. And where possible, we can automate the process.
Okay.
But sometimes SMEs, we don't have the money to automate. But then, even if we don't automate the process, but still, we make sure that people understand the process. And the process targets are very clear. So, unlike before, it was really difficult because everybody comes with their own identity, with their own method of doing things. So it was very difficult to come up with standardized products.
So give me an example of this in your own business, Otto.
Okay, like for example, right now I run a small bakery in town. So what we did was to say, we started the whole process all the way from our purchasing all the way to our sales. How do we do it? Then after creating a process construct, we now know, like, for example, if we're talking about resources, who is our resource manager? Because we've looked at the whole process and we said, these are our resources. So now the functions, I no longer have things like procurement is being done by this guy, HR is being done by this guy. All this is under a resource person, because I now understand these are resources that have to go into the process. Once resources have gone into the process, then we go into the manufacturing. How am I doing it? My output, how am I doing it? Then we all agree now on what needs to be done. And we all agree that if we continue doing this, then definitely we will come up with the same results all the time.
Okay, so
that's how.
So you've done this now for your bakery, and
yes,
and you've aligned it with Orgtology. And
yeah.
What is the?
It's a work in progress.
How long have you been running your bakery on Orgtology premises?
It's basically almost like 6 months now, because it's work in progress. As I'm learning Orgtology, I'm implementing some of the things. Some of the things are still a little bit difficult to get my guys to agree with.
Okay.
But it's a process that it's an ongoing, it's work in progress.
Okay.
Maybe by the end of the year, I can tell you it's working or it's a new headache.
I mean, when you take a look at it, specifically from an SME perspective, your test would be incremental improvements, not so. So would you say that the way that you're running the bakery is incrementally improved, and how do you see that?
Okay, the incremental improvement that you firstly, it's on your outputs, then it's also in the area of defects.
So if you take a look at your percentages from the time that you started implementing the stuff to now 6 months later, what percentage of improvement have you seen in both those areas, both output and defects, let's say?
I can't give this offhand in terms of the figures, but the improvement has been marked. It has been something good, especially in terms of defects.
Okay.
That part, I don't want to lie. That part we've done quite well.
Okay, good. So you've taken a lot of error out of your process.
Yeah, but what the process has done for me now in Orgtology is that we've managed to create constants That's one thing that we've managed to do with it. Now I can tell this is what we do, this is what is our output, this is what we get. If we do this, this is the output. So at least that consistency is now there, which was not there all along. There was all these fluctuations and everything.
So you're holding out great hope for by the end of the year that your business would be totally influenced by Orgtology processes and you would be running as smoothly as, and everybody would have bought into your process.
Definitely. I'm actually hoping that the next group doing Orgtology, I'll give them the business as a case study.
Okay. All right. So knowing what you know now and having applied it to one of your businesses and seeing how it started performing, how easy would it be for you to actually go back to the old way of doing business?
Believe you me, anybody who has been exposed to Orgtology, it's almost impossible to go back to the way of doing business. It's almost impossible. You can't even think of it. It's like saying, now that you've finished your high school, what about going back to grade 1?
Okay, I like that analogy also. All right.
Yes, yeah.
So let's move on to your experience of the program, because obviously I'm speaking to a lot of people in the program. I'm looking at the program myself. Everybody has had glowing feedback on this, and now you're just another that's had the same. What has been your experience of the program? I mean, you've come in as a businessman, you're looking at doing something new, you're a consultant. So obviously you're also talking to other businesses about their strategy and their constructs and their processes and all of those kind of things. When you came into the program and somebody recommended that you do the program, how far in are you?
Oh, it's almost 2 years now. What I did is like, I first attended the workshops with Derek. I think I attended 2 of his workshops on Orgtology. Then after attending his workshop, I now joined the program. I think this is our 2nd module. We'll be doing a 3rd module. Then the final module, then we are done. I think we are almost more than 50%, 70% of the program. I can say the program is an eye-opener. Straight from the first day of the workshops that I did with him, strategies presented differently from what we do on daily basis. We do our SWOT analysis and all those kind of things. It's all totally different thing. It's exciting, but sometimes, old ways, it's difficult to peel them off. It's difficult to change old ways. But Orgtology brings in a new thinking. If you are somebody who is a passion of learning new ways of doing things, Orgtology is a thing. But if you're somebody who is a traditionalist, a conservative person who trusts in the old ways, you might find that Orgtology can be very challenging, because the issue is that it challenges every perspective. Everything that you've learned in your first degree, in your MBA, it changes them upside down.
Is what you're saying is, if you stick to the old ways, by the time the 4th industrial revolution comes in, your business will no longer exist?
That's very definite. Let me just give this example. You look at Nokia. They're one of the biggest guys in terms of cell phones, the biggest in the world anyway. But when smartphones came, they remained in the analog phones and all that kind of thing. And today, where is Nokia? And believe me, with the 4th industrial revolution, a lot of big names that you know today, they won't be there unless they adapt. They'll be history. And it's an opportunity actually for a lot of SMEs and other people to fill in the gap. Okay,
so literally you're saying Orgtology is the key to either adapting or dying.
Definitely.
Otto, thank you. It's been wonderful talking to you. And if somebody can be excited about something for their own business to see the way forward as future-proofing themselves, it's definitely worth looking to see whether the answer they have found is a worthwhile answer for yourself. In terms of people that you would recommend look to Orgtology, what kinds of people would you say look at Orgtology in terms of an answer for business? I know as an SME, you would definitely say SMEs, but what other kind of people in business would you recommend look at Orgtology as an answer?
I think everybody in business at the director level, they should have an understanding of what Orgtology is all about. But believe you me, the people that I've met from, for example, here in Swaziland, who are doing Orgtology at a big level with the organizations in Swaziland here, when we talk about Orgtology, you realize that everyone who is at the director, leadership, management level should embrace Orgtology, should know about Orgtology.
Thank you for your time and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you so much, Michelle. Thank you for your time. And once again, this is the answer. Don't say genuine. This is the answer.
Okay,
Thank you so much.
Thanks, bye.
All right.
And we're inviting you to join the Orgtologist certification program. The next one starts on the 1st of July 2021, and we invite you to become a certified Orgtologist with the International Orgtology Institute. For more information, inbox me or send me an email on mish@gmail.com or visit www.orgtology.org and become part of the Orgtology family today.